They say love is patient, love is kind, but in my case, love was cruel and blind. My name is Liana, and this is the story of how I died as a devoted wife and came back reborn, no longer willing to be anyone's second choice. When I married Ryan, I thought I had everything I ever wanted. We had been high school sweethearts, or so I believed. I gave up a prestigious scholarship to a top university just to stay in our hometown and support his dreams. I worked 2 jobs while he studied business, cooked every meal, managed the house, and cheered for him from the sidelines. I thought that was love, unconditional, loyal, and silent. But Ryan loved someone else. He never said it out loud in the beginning. No, it was always subtle, like the way he hesitated before coming home, or how he spent holidays working late. He would scroll through his phone and smile, thinking I didn't notice. I did. I noticed everything, but I kept pretending. I was his legal wife. After all, I thought that meant something. I thought being the one who stayed when things got tough would eventually make me enough. One evening, I cooked his favorite meal, chicken piccata with lemon butter pasta. I even lit candles, hoping to create a cozy night in. He walked through the door and looked at the table, barely sparing a glance. "What's this?" he asked coldly. "I just thought we could have dinner together. It's been a while." He sat down, barely touched the food, and checked his phone constantly. After a long silence, he finally said, "I'm tired. I'm going to bed." No thank you. No appreciation. No warmth. That night, I lay awake wondering where I had gone wrong. Was I not pretty enough? Was my love too suffocating? Did I support him too much or not enough? It didn't occur to me then that maybe I was never the problem. The cracks widened. Slowly, his detachment became indifference. He started staying out later. I'd ask where he'd been and he'd wave me off. He'd disappear for entire weekends, leaving me to wonder if I still existed in his life. And then I found the photo.it was tucked into the back of his drawer, probably by mistake a printed photo of him hugging another woman under a tree by the lake. The way he looked at her, I had never seen that look when he looked at me. I didn't confront him, not right away. I needed to believe that I still mattered. But that belief crumbled 2 weeks later. It was our anniversary. I waited all day. I wore the red dress he once said he liked. I made a reservation at the restaurant where we had our first date. I even wrote him a letter, something raw, honest, and from the heart. He never showed up. I called. No answer. I texted. No reply. At midnight, I saw a photo on social media. He was with her, smiling, laughing. A sunset behind them as they toasted champagne. The caption read, "With the one who truly has my heart." That was the night I knew I wasn't his wife. I was a placeholder. Still, I stayed. Not because I was weak, but because I didn't know who I was without him. And then came the day everything shattered. I collapsed one morning from sheer exhaustion. My vision blurred, and the floor rushed up to meet me. When I opened my eyes, I was in the hospital, alone, tubes in my arm, machines beeping around me. No one by my side. He came. Eventually, 3 days later, when he walked into the room, I smiled weakly. "Ryan," I whispered, "you came." He didn't meet my eyes. "I was busy," he said, setting down a bouquet of supermarket flowers. That's when she walked in behind him. Her, the woman from the photo. She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and smiled at me like I was nothing but a stranger. I blinked, trying to understand. He cleared his throat. Liana, I know this isn't the right time, but I can't keep pretending. She's the one I truly love. You and I, we were a mistake. A mistake. I gave him my youth, my dreams, my loyalty. And I was a mistake. I don't remember what I said. Maybe I didn't say anything at all. Maybe I just stared, my heart breaking for the last time. Later that night, I slipped into a coma, and I never woke up. Not in that life, at least. But death wasn't the end for me, because I opened my eyes again. And this time I was reborn. The moment I opened my eyes, I was surrounded by familiar sounds, the hum of traffic outside, the ticking of the old wall clock in my bedroom, and the sunlight peeking through cheap curtains I remembered hating. I bolted upright in bed, my body. It didn't ache. The IVs were gone. No hospital monitors. I wasn't sick. I was home. My fingers trembled as I grabbed my phone. The date flashed on the screen, March 3rd, 3 months before the engagement. My breath caught in my throat. This couldn't be real. I looked at myself in the mirror, young, healthier, lighter. The stress lines were gone. The sadness hadn't settled in yet. And then it hit me. I was reborn, given another chance. The universe, fate, whatever power existed, it gave me an opportunity to do it all over again. But this time, it wouldn't be the same. No. This time, I wouldn't grovel. I wouldn't cling to someone who never loved me. I wouldn't abandon my dreams just to be the good wife. This time, I would live for me. I spent the first few days just observing, watching how Ryan spoke, how he subtly gaslit me, how he tested my boundaries. I noticed things I never paid attention to the first time. The late-night messages, the way he avoided planning a future with me, how his phone would buzz and he'd walk out of the room to answer. Everything made sense now. He hadn't changed. I had. One afternoon, we were supposed to go ring shopping. Instead, I cancelled. I'm not feeling it, I told him over the phone, voice steady. He sounded surprised. You love this stuff, babe. You said you couldn't wait. I changed my mind. Silence. Then I clipped, fine. He didn't even ask if I was okay. That evening, I sat in the university CAF, flipping through brochures I had thrown away in my last life. My dream school, the one I had given up for him, was still accepting late applications for a special program. I didn't hesitate. I applied. For the first time in years, I was choosing myself. Ryan noticed the difference quickly. You're cold lately, he said one evening when we met for coffee. I'm just seeing things clearly now. Seeing what? You. He leaned back, irritated. What's that supposed to mean? I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Just that some things look different when you're not drowning in delusion. He blinked. Are you accusing me of something? I shook my head slowly. I'm not accusing you. I'm just not ignoring it anymore. The shift in power was so subtle, yet so strong. I saw it in his eyes, that confusion, that frustration. I wasn't reacting the way I used to. No tears, no begging, no please don't leave me. I was silent, composed, and that scared him. A week later, he tried to make things up to me, flowers, surprise visits, even cooking dinner. It was pathetic. He was chasing the version of me who adored him without reason. That version had died. I hadn't even confronted him about the other woman yet. There was no need, because now I knew how this story ended. He called her his true love. He left me to die alone. But not this time. This time, I was going to leave him. Every step I took now was precise. calculated. I studied harder than ever. I prepared for interviews. I practiced speaking with confidence, because this second life wasn't about revenge. It was about redemption. He just didn't know it yet. There's a quiet kind of power in choosing yourself. It doesn't scream. It doesn't cry. It simply moves forward. That's what I did. Every morning, I woke up before dawn not to cook Ryan's breakfast or iron his shirts like I used to, but to study, plan, and build my future. I had dreams once. I let them go for him. But now, I was picking them up, piece by piece, like sacred glass I'd once shattered in my own hands. Ryan noticed, and he hated it. "You're always busy these days," he said one evening, leaning against my doorway. "I am," I replied without looking up from my laptop. He stepped inside, crossing the room like he owned it. "Don't you miss spending time with me?" I paused, finally looking at him. "Do you?" He frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I smiled softly. "You never really wanted my time before. Why now?" He didn't answer. Because he couldn't. The more I distanced myself, the more he tried to get close. It was like a game to him, one he thought he could win again. But he didn't know he was playing with someone who had already read the ending. A week later, I declined the anniversary dinner he suggested. "I thought we agreed to celebrate next Friday," he said, irritated. "I didn't," I said plainly. "And honestly, there's nothing to celebrate." He stared at me like I was a stranger. "What's going on with you, Liana? You're acting like someone who finally sees clearly." He froze. I leaned in slightly. "I remember everything, Ryan. Every lie, every betrayal, every time you left me waiting while she had your full attention." His jaw tensed. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about your true love," I said, mimicking the words he'd once stabbed me with. "You remember her, don't you? The one you took on our anniversary trip. The one who walked into my hospital room while I was dying alone." His face turned pale. "How do you?" "I remember it all." He shook his head, voice low. "That never happened. You're making things up." "No, Ryan. I was reborn. I came back with all the pain you caused etched into my bones like scars." He stared at me, stunned. Not because he believed in rebirth, but because he could no longer recognize the woman in front of him. I stepped back. "We're done. For good. Don't propose. Don't call. Don't try to fix what you so carelessly broke." "But I love you," he said, weakly. "No, Ryan. You loved the version of me that worshipped you. And she's dead." He stood there, silent, trying to process it. But I was already gone. In the days that followed, I threw myself into preparation for my university entrance interview. I had wasted so much time before, waiting on someone who never waited for me. Not anymore. When I walked into the exam hall, I felt a calm I'd never felt before. I wasn't here for anyone else's approval. I was here for me. The questions came one after another: math, logic, essay writing. And I answered with confidence, not fear. As I stepped out, I knew I had changed the course of my life, and Ryan, he was just a shadow in a story I no longer wanted to tell. The silence from Ryan was loud but not permanent. A man like him, who was used to control, admiration, and blind loyalty, doesn't handle rejection well. He showed up unannounced at my door 3 days later, a bouquet of roses in his hand. His smile was forced. I thought maybe we could talk. I didn't move from the doorway. "We already did." "Liana, come on. You're upset. I get it. I've made mistakes. But we've been together for years. Doesn't that mean anything?" My eyes didn't flinch. "Apparently not." At least not to you, when you called someone else your true love. His expression cracked for a moment. Then he tried to recover. That's not fair, no. I cut him off. What wasn't fair was staying by your side while you loved someone else. Ryan, I lived through it. I died through it. And now, I'm done reliving that nightmare. He swallowed hard, his voice dropping. So that's it. You're just walking away. I tilted my head. No, Ryan, you already did. I'm just not chasing after you anymore. I closed the door in his face, and I didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, I opened my laptop to an email that nearly made my heart stop. Congratulations! You've been accepted into the honors program at Meridian University. My breath caught. I had done it. The girl who once threw away her future for a man had now built her own path stone by stone. That night, I celebrated alone. Not because I had no one, but because this victory was mine and mine alone. Still, I couldn't deny the emptiness that sometimes echoed in the quiet moments. I had friends, yes, but no one who saw me. Not the way I longed to be seen until I met him. His name was Caleb. It started simply. A shared library table, a casual conversation about books. But unlike Ryan, Caleb listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't mock my ambitions. He asked questions not to challenge me, but to understand me. Over time, I noticed how calm I felt around him. No anxiety, no pretending, just me. He respected boundaries. When I once excused myself from study group due to a panic attack I barely hid, he didn't pressure me. He simply texted, "If you ever need a quiet place to breathe, I know a few." He didn't try to save me. He stood beside me while I saved myself. One afternoon, while we walked back from class, he said gently, "You've been through something, haven't you?" I looked at him carefully. "Everyone has," he smiled. "True, but not everyone learns to rise the way you have." That simple sentence broke something in me, not in a painful way, in a healing way. Because for the first time, someone saw me not as a mistake, not as a tool, but as a person who mattered. But just as things began to feel whole again, Ryan returned, not with flowers this time, but with desperation. He showed up at my campus, waiting by the main gate like some lost soul in a suit. "I need to talk to you," he said, disheveled, eyes hollow. "I don't think there's anything left to say," I answered firmly. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Liana, I was wrong about everything. I let the wrong one go. Please, just you didn't let me go." "Ryan," I interrupted coldly. "You never even held me in the first place." He stood frozen, watching me turn and walk away toward Caleb, who had just stepped out of class and now walked beside me like I was someone worth standing next to. I didn't look back, because when someone shows you who they are twice you believe them. And this time, I was finally believing me. Regret is a funny thing. It doesn't strike when it should. It waits, watches, lets you burn the bridge, and then makes you long for the fire you lit. Ryan was drowning in that regret now, and for the first time, I didn't care. The more distance I created, the more frantic he became. Messages flooded in. I didn't know what I had until I lost it. "You've changed, but I still love you. He doesn't know you like I do. Come back to me." I didn't respond to a single one, because Caleb, he did know me. And more importantly, he wanted to. We started spending more time together. Study sessions turned into coffee dates. Coffee dates turned into late-night walks, sharing dreams and laughing under quiet skies. One evening, we sat on the rooftop of the university library, watching the stars flicker. I've never met someone like you, Caleb said, his voice soft but certain. Someone like what? I asked, smiling. Someone who's been shattered and chose to become whole again. I looked at him, really looked. He wasn't flashy. He didn't come with dramatic gestures or romanticized lies. He came with honesty, with warmth, with peace. It was new and terrifying. You're not afraid of me? I asked. Of the baggage? He tilted his head. Everyone carries bags. Yours just have a beautiful story inside. That night, for the first time in either of my lives, I cried tears not from pain but from healing. The connection between us grew effortlessly, slowly, deeply. He never rushed me. He never crossed boundaries. He gave me space and made me feel safe within it. But Ryan, he was falling apart. Word got around that his true love had left him, walked out after realizing he was emotionally unavailable, distracted, and still hung up on someone else. That someone was me. The irony was almost poetic. I ran into Ryan by accident one day outside a CAF near campus. He looked thinner, darker circles under his eyes. He approached me like a ghost, like I was a memory that refused to die. Liana, he said, voice low. Can we talk? I hesitated, then gave him a minute. We sat down, not like lovers, not like friends, like two people who once shared a dream and watched it die. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, he began, but I need to say this. I was a coward. I took you for granted. I thought I loved her, but it was you all along. You were the one who stayed, who gave, who believed in me. I met his eyes, and yet you broke me. I know, he whispered. I'd give anything to undo it. I nodded slowly. But I wouldn't, he blinked. What? I wouldn't undo it. Because if I hadn't gone through that pain, I wouldn't be who I am now. And I wouldn't have found someone who treats me with the respect I always deserved. His throat tightened. So, that's it. That's it, I said calmly. You called someone else your true love. And that was the truest thing you ever said. So own it. He tried to smile, but it broke halfway through. Goodbye, Ryan. I stood up and walked away. That night, Caleb and I had dinner together. He noticed I was quieter than usual. Are you okay? He asked gently. I ran into someone from my past. He nodded, understanding. You don't owe me the story. Just tell me how you feel. I took a deep breath. I feel light. Like I finally dropped a weight I didn't even realize I was still carrying. He smiled. Then, that's all I need to know. In that moment, I realized something. Love isn't about dramatic gestures or perfect timing. It's about respect. And Caleb, he loved me without needing to break me first. You never truly understand the weight of peace until chaos tries to claw its way back in. Ryan wasn't done. After our final talk outside the CAF, I thought he would disappear quietly, accept the consequences of his choices, and fade into the past where he belonged. But I underestimated his ego. He didn't want me back because he loved me. He wanted me back because I had finally stopped needing him. That's what broke him. And so, the show began. It started with messages again. Not desperate now, but grand. I've enrolled in therapy. I'm changing. I bought a new apartment. Maybe we could live there together. Start fresh. I'll wait for you. Forever. If I have to. Then came the gifts. A bouquet sent to my dorm. A handwritten letter slipped under my door. a necklace with my birthstone, and a note that said, "For the woman I should have loved right the first time." I left it all untouched. Still, he escalated. One morning, I walked out of class to find him, waiting by the main fountain on one knee. Yes, a public proposal. Students stopped. Phones were pulled out. I stood frozen as he opened a box with a glimmering diamond ring. "Lana," he said loudly, "I lost you once. I won't lose you again. Will you marry me?" Gasps, cheers, whispers. The crowd leaned in, but I didn't move. I looked at the ring, then at him, and I remembered every silent cry, every lonely dinner, every hospital beep echoing in an empty room. My voice was calm, firm, clear. No, the crowd quieted. His smile faltered. "No," I said, "no. Ryan, you don't love me. You love the idea of fixing what you broke. You love control. You love yourself. But you don't love me. Not really." He stood slowly, confused and wounded. "But I've changed." "Maybe you have," I said. "But that doesn't mean I owe you another chance." I walked away. The crowd parted. No cheers, just stunned silence, and behind me, I didn't hear him follow. Later that night, I found myself sitting across from Caleb, our favorite bookstore CAF. He hadn't brought it up, but I knew he knew. The video had already gone viral in our university circle. "Everyone's talking about it," I murmured, stirring my coffee. "I know," he said. "You didn't ask. You didn't need me to." I smiled. "You're not mad." He looked at me, eyes gentle. "Mad that you chose yourself?" "Never." In that moment, I knew. What I had with Ryan was obsession, dependency, and compromise. What I had with Caleb was love, not the love that demands or takes, but the love that waits, that respects, that heals. That night, we sat in silence for a while, no need for words. Just two souls existing side by side, and for the first time, I wasn't surviving love, I was living it. The seasons changed, and so did I. There was no dramatic fanfare, no magical moment that screamed, "You've healed." But one morning, I looked in the mirror and didn't see the girl who once begged for scraps of love. I saw a woman who had reclaimed herself. I focused on my studies, poured my soul into my projects, and started a blog to share my journey. To my surprise, it resonated. Messages poured in from other women, strangers, who had felt used, discarded, unloved, and they called me brave. But I wasn't brave. I was just finally honest with them and with myself. Caleb continued to be my quiet anchor. No jealousy, no pressure, no emotional games. He walked with me, not ahead or behind, but beside me. He helped me prep for my final interview with a prestigious media agency, the same company I'd once dreamed of working for before I gave everything up for Ryan. The interview day arrived. As I walked through the glass doors of the towering office, I felt a flutter of nerves but also confidence. I wasn't there to prove anything to anyone but myself. I aced it. A week later, I got the call. "We'd be honored to have you on the team." I sat down, stunned. Tears streamed down my cheeks, but these weren't tears of grief or regret. They were joy. Caleb was the first person I told. He hugged me tightly, then pulled back and looked me in the eyes. "You didn't just rebuild your life," he said. Smiling, "you redesigned it." That night, under soft golden lights on the rooftop where we first connected, Caleb reached into his pocket and held out a small velvet box, but not with a ring. Inside was a tiny silver compass necklace. "I'm not asking for forever," he said gently. I'm just asking to keep walking this path with you wherever it leads. I smiled through tears. That's all I ever wanted. I wore that necklace like armor, not because I needed someone to guide me, but because I'd finally found direction within myself and someone who respected where I was headed. Meanwhile, Ryan faded. I heard from a mutual friend that he left town, started over in a different city. I never asked for more details. I didn't need to. Some stories don't deserve sequels. A few months later, I gave a talk at a local women's conference on second chances and self-worth. As I stood on that stage, looking out at tearful eyes and hopeful faces, I realized something. I wasn't the girl who was used and thrown away. I was the woman who rose from it all and bloomed. If you told me back when I was lying alone in that hospital bed, when my husband called another woman his true love, that I'd one day smile again, I wouldn't have believed you. I would've told you I was too broken, too unloved, too small. But here I am, smiling not because I found someone else to save me, but because I saved myself. I used to think being chosen was everything, that love meant sacrifice, that being a good woman meant giving everything, even when I had nothing left. I was wrong. Love isn't pain packaged as devotion. Love is quiet peace, steady support, respect that never wavers, and sometimes love starts with you. Being reborn didn't give me the power to change others. It gave me the clarity to stop changing myself for them. Ryan was my past. Caleb is my present. But I am my future. Every step forward, every boundary set, every dream pursued, I did that. And if you're listening to this, if you've ever felt like you weren't enough, like you were disposable, like love was a knife disguised as a ring, hear me when I say, you deserve better. You deserve you. The strongest love story isn't the one where the man begs for a second chance, it's the one where the woman never begs for love again. And as I walk forward into this next chapter with purpose, with peace, with someone who walks beside me, not ahead, I do so knowing I'll never be anyone's second choice again, because this time I choose me. Thanks for watching. Hoped you liked it. If you watched till the end, please comment "end" so that we could understand you were with us till the end, as well as please let us know where are you watching from. Before leaving, please hit the subscribe button, comment your thought, and share with your nearest and dearest one. See you in the next one. Until to the next one, spread love.